3 things you need to do right now to become more successful with women, dating, confidence, social skills, business, life in general. Okay, I'm gonna go through each one of these points and talk about my experience with each of these guys, because I have fucked up in a lot of these areas. It took me 10 years to go through this process. I just turned 34. I started this shit when I was 22, 23, 24 is when I started taking it seriously. All right, I'm gonna go through each one of these points and talk about my experience in the progression where I fucked up when I was 22, 26, 28, 30, 33, in each one of these points, as well as what I see within clients of mine and dudes I get on consultation calls with. So you're pretty much getting a free consultation call in this video right now. Stick through this, watch through point 1, point 2, point 3. They're gonna build off of each other. And then there's a bonus point at the end of this that goes really big into self-talk that encompasses this whole thing to set yourself up for success right after this video, okay? It's all going down right here. So let's get into point number 1, which is gonna be your mindset and your perspective on things. The old me, when I first discovered self-development, male-female dynamics, social skills, all this shit, I just started watching all this content. I didn't have anybody to look at me or talk to me about where my mindset was. I kind of just discovered the stuff on the internet, and I just began watching all of this content. Because my mindset back then was I would watch a video, I would learn something. In return, I thought I got better with it since I extracted value from the video, and I just continued to repeat that process. I was a theory junkie who was obsessed with learning and studying. So when I learned something, I would just keep watching video after video after video, thinking, I'm getting better with this shit. Thinking, oh, I just learned another new technique. Fuck yeah, I'm getting better. Gotta watch more videos. That was my initial mindset. Now, after doing that for about a year, I learned really quickly that there was nothing in my life that was actually changing. My circumstances were exactly the same. I hadn't gone up and talked to any women. My confidence wasn't actually any better. I just became a student in a sense that I was like reading a bunch of books, watching a bunch of videos, but my actual experience, the amount of action I was taking, and my lifestyle, my habits, none of that was changing. So as a result of that, I didn't actually change. I didn't feel more confident. There was no more women in my life. Nothing externally began to evolve. So that was the first realization I had. I then decided, okay, I'm gonna actually go out and start to take some action. And I learned very quickly, I'm a complete pussy at this stuff. I can't even say hi to somebody. I started at a very low level, guys. This was like 12 years ago, but I had the idea that I needed to go out and do it because I was watching videos for so long, but then I couldn't actually take the first couple steps. I would go outside and then I would just see a girl, or I would think about talking to somebody, and I would just had all of this fear and anxiety around the person's reactions or where I was going to take the conversation, and I would talk myself out of it because I was at a very low level. So the first bad mindset was like, let me just watch content. Then that evolved into, let me take action. But the mindset around that turned into, well, let me actually go take action around this, which is a step up, but there was still a false perspective around the whole thing because I was still focused on the perspective of, what if she rejects me? What am I going to say after I do step 1? What if I do step 1 and then something bad happens in step 2, step 3, step 4, and I end up looking bad? So that was still the false perspective, because really all I needed to do was just do step 1 consistently before I could even get into a position for thinking about step 2, step 3, step 4. I then realized I'm not gonna be able to do this by myself because of how bad my perspective was. I had all these false expectations. I ultimately concluded after 2 years of doing this, I can't do it alone. I then hired a coach who broke it down step by step for me and gave me some accountability and some guidance. To be honest, that coach didn't really completely shift me into the proper mindset, but I did have skin in the game because I paid him a couple $1,000s, and I was then pushed through the leverage of having the coach, the accountability, the financial investment. And there was also a decent amount of pain and frustration that had been built up over 2 years of not getting the result and putting this much time into it, where I was starting to get fed up. So the combination of those things got me to a place where I could then start to take action. Great, that was what I needed. It took me 2-something years to get to that point. I then started to make progress, a lot more progress in those next couple months than I even made in 2 years. It was like I needed to go through 2 years of frustration and bullshit and studying and confusion and pain and anxiety to finally get to a breaking point where I was like, fuck this, I'm gonna do this thing. That got me to take action. Within a matter of a month, I took more action than I did. Actually, in a matter of a week, I took more action than I did my entire first 2 years. However, after doing that for a certain point, my perspective was still off because I was thinking, well, I'm just gonna go all out at this and I'm going to finally crush this goal. I wasn't thinking long-term enough, and I still wasn't thinking step by step and looking at the positive progress I was making. I was still worried about the girl's reaction. I was still worried about negative reactions from people. I was still worried about really uncomfortable situations, and I wasn't focused on the actual growth that I was making week by week, step by step, month by month. So eventually that did lead to burnout and frustration, and I started to have these ups and downs over the next year. This is the third year of my progression now. So the mindset and the perspective was still off. Although I was making progress. You don't need to have a perfect mindset and the perfect perspective to actually make progress. Some of you guys are actually making progress right now. I'm just here to tell you guys like, yo, you could be making progress a lot faster. If you have somebody who's actually been through this stuff that can fast track your results, who sees, yo, this is the current trajectory you're on, and I've been in that position, and let me fast track your trajectory to go from right now you're on track to do it in like 10 years. We could cut that down into like 6 months or 12 months or whatever the fuck it may be, right? Like it actually did take me 10 years to get to the level I'm at. But the guys that are underneath me, I've really accelerated their progress when it comes to women, dating, social confidence, business branding, mindset, diet, fitness, all of these areas. Guys, if you're struggling with any of these areas and you want to go faster with it, you can work with me directly. The link's in the description. Fill out an application. We could talk more details on that stuff. But guys, I'm just saying the third year of my progression, there was a bunch of these ups and downs, and it was due to a false perspective on things. Although I was making progress, still had a fucked up mindset, still had a fucked up perspective on the whole thing. And so third year, finally making progress, got to a point where I was actually starting to work on flirting, getting some numbers. Wasn't going like too crazy with any of that, but I noticed I was carrying myself a little bit more confidently throughout my day. I was making more friends. I was feeling better about myself. So I was starting to get more motivated to go to the gym, take my diet more seriously. I was still going to school at the time. I wasn't thinking about being a coach or anything yet, but I was starting to build up my confidence a little bit. Now let's move to the fourth year and fifth year, because that's when I started to really get results when it came to going out and social confidence and creating a future identity of myself. Like a higher level identity of myself, because I started to get more and more experiences and breakthroughs that showed me, yo, damn, these were the goals I initially wanted, but now that I'm accomplishing these goals, I'm starting to see higher levels of what's actually possible for myself. That's another place where a lot of dudes go wrong. One thing I thankfully did was I didn't give up over that 2, 3, 4, 5 year span. Most dudes that come into this, that watch some content, that dabble, they'll watch a little bit of self-development and they end up just burning out. They get frustrated. They never get a mentor. They don't surround themselves with like-minded individuals. And they're so fucked up, and they have such a false perspective on focusing on reactions of people and negative self-talk and not structured action. So they end up actually giving up. I even talked to clients who told me, I've been studying this shit for 10 years, Kyle. I've been in self-development for 10 years. And in my mind, I was like, well, dude, like you've been in this shit longer than I have. And now I'm your coach. So like clearly you had false perspectives because you should be way further than I am. So the one thing thankfully that I never did was actually give up. So the consistency was what got me to my level. And really I've made massive progress over the last couple of years, which I'm going to transition into in just a second in points 2 and point 3. But that's really the fucked up mindsets that I've had, and I've seen other clients and students of mine come in with very bad mindsets and perspectives. And this is all around point number 1. I just showed you guys the progression, and you're probably somewhere in there. You either just have ridiculously low self-talk, you have bad habits, maybe you're pushing yourself a little bit, or maybe you're just studying, watching videos and taking no action at all. Wherever you're at, you need to understand that, hey, I'm here, and the next level up is only going to be created by consistent action where I'm just focused on the next step. I'm not worried about step 5, step 6. I'm going to get there. I'm focused on taking this next step consistently. And every time I do that, I reward myself. And I think back to months previous when I was at even lower levels. So I can stay focused on the positives. And as long as you can do that, stay consistent, you'll be moving in the right direction. If you find yourself burning out, getting frustrated, confused, or there's pain around the whole thing, well then guys, you may need to put yourself into a better environment that's going to hold you more accountable. You have more leverage. You have a peer group that's pushing you, or a coach that's pushing you to fast track the whole thing and take you to higher levels. So that's all of point number 1, is mindset and perspective around the whole thing. And as I'm getting to the tail end of point number 1, you can already start to see what number 2 really is, because it really comes down to your daily habits. Okay, point number 2 is all about your daily habits. If you want to become successful with women, dating, confidence, business, life in general, it's going to be the daily habits. Before you become great at anything, you need to become consistent at the thing. Nobody becomes great or really successful without becoming consistent with the action-based goal around that thing. And watching videos alone does not mean successful, confident dude in any category, in business, in life, in confidence, in communication, in dating, whatever the thing is, diet, fitness, I don't give a fuck. Across the board, the way that you become successful with the thing is through daily consistency. And that ties back to your habits. The reason that I'm leveling up so fast right now in my own life, some of you guys have been watching me for a long time. There has been a constant evolution, but I can even say right now, over the last 2-3 months, I feel like I've gone up even more. I feel like I'm evolving at a higher and higher rate. The new identity I have of myself right now is way higher than what I was envisioning 6 to 12 months ago. And I can really attribute the growth of what I've been experiencing solely due to the daily habits that I've been consistently committing to. So whatever aspect of your life that you feel like you're struggling with, if it's approaching, if it's social confidence, if it's dating, if it's women, if it's business, if it's your diet, it's your fitness, it's probably a combination of all of these things because, I mean, they all go hand in hand. I do have clients that are just like super locked in with their business and fitness. They just never prioritize this other area of their life. And now they're coming to me like, dude, I've been watching you for a while. I maxed out my look, I maxed out my business, but I still fucking suck at this thing and I want to get this dialed in. I'm like, let's get to work. So I've seen all sides of it. It all is the same thing though. No matter what area it is, the dude just doesn't take action consistently and prioritize it as a daily habit in his life. And most of you guys, and this ties into point number 1, most of you dudes have a false, fucked up perspective on what the daily habit needs to be. It does not need to be, I need to quit my job, drive an hour away to go spend 3 hours to go out and end up getting drunk talking to girls at a bar. That is not what the fuck this means. I just talked to some dude on a consultation call and he was like, yeah, like I noticed you got really good at this and I was just curious, like where should I go to do this? And I was like, well, dude, what about your interactions? Oh, no, I'm good at the interaction part. I just need locations. I was like, dude, get the fuck out of here, bro. Like, you're telling me you have flawless communication skills, you have like incredible social skills, you just can't find the locations? Like, to me, that sounds absolute bullshit. There's a story you're telling yourself that's bullshit. Because if you were that good, you would already have the people around you. I don't give a fuck where you're living, dude. That's bullshit. So I say all of this to show you guys, like, dude, there is so many different false perspectives on this shit. Everybody has the wrong mindset and the wrong perspective and the wrong daily habits. And that's the exact reason you're not successful with this shit, man. So all you need to do is dedicate 30 to 60 minutes a day towards the thing you want to accomplish. If it's social confidence and talking to women, then you need to prioritize that consistently. This isn't a thing that you go out once a week and you get drunk on the weekend to go and talk to girls. That is bullshit, dude. If you want to go out at nighttime, cool, go out at nighttime. Don't drink though. I'm done drinking. I'm off all fucking drugs and vices. Stop drinking. That was a crutch I even used for myself for a couple of years during my journey because I was a pussy. If I could go back, I would remove the fucking alcohol a lot quicker than I did. I slowly weaned off of it. When I was in my 20s, I needed to get blacked out drunk to even go out because the anxiety was so high. Then once I got to a decent level of confidence, I started dialing it back because I realized, well, I'm getting so drunk, I don't even remember my nights. There's no actual growth here. Then I would just do it a little bit to take the edge off so I could consistently get into that flow state when I was out. But that's still a problem because you would grow a lot faster without drugs or without alcohol. Most of you dudes, you have a couple drinks when you're out to loosen up. I would argue that if you remove those things, even though it will be harder at first, the difficult situation is what leads to faster growth, right? So I actually completely regret spending years drinking alcohol to get myself into that flow state because right now I'm consistently going out for at least 30 to 60 minutes a day. And if I were to go out at nighttime, which I haven't even been because my daily habits and my business and everything else is so dialed in, and I can get a result from going out for 30 to 60 minutes a day, daytime. I don't need to go out at nighttime. But if I really wanted to go even harder with it, I would go out at nighttime for an hour or two completely sober because that's really how you're going to make the most growth and maximize your time out efficiently to meet people. So the daily habit is not go out once a week during nighttime and get drunk. That would be a weekly habit attached to a bad vice. You want to go out during nighttime over the weekends? Fine. Do it with your boys. Have fun. Remove the alcohol, remove the drugs. If you're not at that level, at least start pulling back on this shit, dude. And eventually, as you start to pull back on it more and more, you'll realize how fucked up and dependent you are on the thing. And that's what will then give you more confidence to go further into the removal of it. I didn't just go cold turkey with all this shit one day. I slowly weaned off of this shit. And as I was weaning off, my perspective started to change. And I realized how dependent and negative these things were, how dependent I was on these things and how negative a lot of these things were. So that was what allowed me to slowly wean off of them. And ultimately, I was at a point where I was like, cool, now I'm at a point where I don't even need it at all. I'm already down to like just doing it 10% of the time, but now I don't want it at all because I just want to be the best version of myself. So I eventually weaned off of everything, got it all fucking removed. And now I'm really running in my optimal state, which is the most efficient, which is going to lead to an even faster progression. So it's the daily habits. And the other part is that, dude, if you're going out every day, talking to at least 3 girls a day, or putting out that piece of content every single day, or messaging 3 podcasts or 3 mentors or 3 whatever the fuck the thing is that you're struggling with, dude. Like, you know what it is. It's either your workouts aren't hard enough, your physique and your diet, your macros isn't dialed in, your wake up time's bullshit, you're struggling with devices, you're not interacting with attractive women daily, you're not pushing the comfort zone in one way or another. In all of these areas, you're fucking comfy and complacent to some degree. And you know what that thing is. You need to include that in your daily habits and fucking prioritize it, dude. There's a reason you're watching this video, because it's on your brain and your brain wants to solve it, either consciously or subconsciously. So you gotta fucking write it down and make it a priority every single day to put some time into that shit. Fuck watching the YouTube video, dude. Stop watching the YouTube video so frequently. I'd rather you put this 20 minutes into the daily habit that you're struggling with. Maybe occasionally you need this as a reminder. Follow me the fuck on Instagram, guys. I'm putting out content every couple of hours that's around these concepts. So you need to consistently embed into your brain this mindset, because that's how you're gonna change your perspective on all this shit. So number 2 is your daily habits. The things you are doing consistently. You need to become consistent before you can become successful or great at whatever the thing is that you're struggling with. And that brings us into point number 3, and all of these are correlated, but obviously number 3, how to truly get successful or become confident with these concepts is action. Action over everything. But here's the problem, is that the old me, even when I was taking action, I had the wrong perspective on the whole thing, dude. I would take the action, not even realizing, dude, I'm taking the action. I would take the action and not even feel accomplished. I wouldn't even feel successful. I wouldn't even feel confident about the fact that I was taking the action, because the self-talk was so bad. The perspective and the mindset was so bad, and I wasn't doing it every single day. So that ties into point number 1 and point number 2, false perspective and mindset and daily habits. So when you're not doing it every day, it's really hard to internalize something. If you just go out and do it once a week, it feels unnatural. You're like, Kyle, this isn't me. I'm going out, I'm trying this thing, I'm posting this thing. There's all these negative correlations around the thing. So the action is what is really important, but there needs to be that foundation of points number 1 and point number 2, because when you take the action and you have the right mindset, now you're like, fuck yeah, I'm taking the action. I did it today, bro. I did it today. The first time I ever went out and did approaches with the coach, I went home that day and I was so fucking happy with myself. However, I didn't make it a daily action. I went home and I did the thing, and then I like gave up on the whole thing. I took like 3 months off from it. It was like, I did the thing, now I don't need to do the thing. Now that's bullshit, dude. You gotta do the thing every day. But when it comes to the action, do a small action that you could actually commit to every day. If it's content, dude, record yourself for 30 seconds a day, every day. If it's approaching women, talk to 3 girls every single day. Honestly, every single day. If you can't even get into a conversation, say hi to 3 girls every day. Give them a compliment in passing every single day. Stop and ask them for directions every single day, and then build off of that as the confidence and the action becomes more and more consistent, because it'll start with a compliment, and then after a week, it'll be a compliment plus 1 or 2 sentences. If it's a piece of content, it's 30 seconds, but then maybe you get into a flow state after a week of doing it, and then you have like a minute-long thing, and now you're like, oh shit, I gotta post this one. If it's the gym, and you're not used to going to the gym where it's uncomfortable, dude, go to the gym for 30 minutes. Don't do some 3-hour Navy SEAL workout. Just start going to the gym. If it's going out into a new environment that you're uncomfortable in, go out to that environment for 15 minutes a day. I don't care where it is. You need to desensitize yourself consistently. And over time, the resilience will build up. Through the consistent action, you will build resilience to the thing, man. And that's what's ultimately gonna allow you for more and more and more and more growth. So it's having the right mindset, having the right perspective on things, because it's going to be up and down. And if you have a false perspective when it's down, you're going to quit, you're going to give up, you're going to talk shit on yourself, and you're not going to see the positives. That ties into the daily habits. It's all of the daily habits, by the way. It's not just one of them. A lot of you dudes are just like a one-trick pony. You're the business guy, or you're just the fitness guy, or you're just the really good-looking dude who just does the online dating shit. That's a fucking clown, bro. Fuck that, dude. You need to actually have true confidence in your life. You don't just dominate business. I don't give a fuck, man. You need to prioritize this shit for an hour a day. If you're that good at business, that means you have the dedication and the skill set and the intelligence that you could easily transition and dedicate some time to this part of your life too. All right. I don't give a fuck what it is. You need to be doing this across the board with the daily habits on all levels. And all of these points tie into the final point, which is action. Consistent action, even if it's in small steps. I don't give a fuck how small it is. You're committing to doing that. And when you do it, you got to reward yourself, man. Fuck yeah, let's go. That ties into the bonus point of all of this, which is the fuck yeah, let's go. That is my motto for life, guys. Anytime I'm completing one of the tasks, my mindset is like, fuck yeah, let's go, man. Let's go, let's go, let's go. I say that shit out loud. I look in the mirror and I say that shit. I coach myself when I'm hitting my goals for the day, because there's going to be bad reactions. There's going to be downtimes. You're going to wake up and you feel like shit one day. But when you hit the tasks, the small tasks consistently, the wake up time, the fucking morning treadmill, the self-reflection in the morning, the journaling, the hard workout, your diet's on point, your physique's on point, you're posting content, you're putting out value to the world, you're giving out compliments, you're putting out good energy to the world. Anytime I'm hitting any of those, internally, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go, man. Oh, dude, it boosts yourself up. You need to be able to coach yourself and boost yourself up. If you're at a really low level, you might not be able to do that, but this whole process is what took me 10 years to get to this point, dude. It doesn't need to take you 10 years. All right, if you want to fast track your results, you're going to do these points. And if you want to go even harder, or you're really struggling with this shit and you really want to turn up, you need to be around this energy, guys. You need to talk to somebody who's been through this shit that can really shorten your trajectory. It doesn't need to take you 10 years, bro. You're not as far away as you think you are. Links in the description. Click that link. I look forward to help you get massive success in this area of your life, regardless of what field it is. I have coaching programs for fitness, mindset, diet, women, dating. It's all correlated, dude. If you haven't put that together by now, click that fucking link. Let's transform your life. That's all for this video, guys. Fuck yeah. Let's go.